This one right here is Kiki Smith. This is cast wax, I believe. This one is Egyptian. One thing that's very different with Egyptian art that we don't see, well, we see a little bit in the early Greek art, but they're standing very stiffly. And the main thing with Egyptian sculpture and Egyptian pyramids and so on, everything was built to last. So if you go back to this guy, see how his fingers are missing and the pole is missing, and you have this open area? That is not really a very durable way to make a sculpture. So in Egyptian sculpture, you really see, when you see the figure, you see all this mass material here. It's not really intended as part of the visual concept of this piece. It's just keeping this from being an open area, and there's no arms sticking out into the air. A little bit of relief coming out here, the arms coming out a little bit, but not much. You don't want to have anything sticking out because that's going to break. Okay, that's their idea. And of course, this is 3,000 years old. Actually, no, I think this one's more like 4,500 years old, quite old. So it did do what it was supposed to do. It did last. Gormley here uses the figure as a departure point. Like a lot of times it's sort of blurry or fuzzy because he's using so many different textures there. But it's still used. These two are 21st century, late 20th, early 21st century people. Okay, working with time and place, something to think about. We already kind of covered this with impermanent sculpture earlier on with Kara Walker, but Andy Goldsworthy is a big person in this. I'm going to skip ahead to him real quick. Ice sculptures. He's got a lot of different things. Time and Tide is a really long film, and I sometimes show it to students in class, but it's quite long. And you're literally watching the sun melt the ice and things like that, and the tides come in and out and wash away pieces. Beautiful concepts. Really look into Andy Goldsworthy. I think you really enjoy some of his work. Okay, I'm going to backtrack a little bit into earthwork and installation. These are two really important types of sculpture. Okay, not architecture, sculpture. Some of you guys get a little confused about this. Installation is not there. This is more temporary. Rarely is this permanent. Earthwork is very permanent. And some of you guys missed that on that question in the midterm. So in earthwork here, there's two examples from the book. This serpent mound from 1,000 years ago. Okay, this is in Ohio. And we find this is very similar to our Nazca lines. If you look at the Nazca lines, those are also in the book in Peru. A lot of cultures decided it was very important to make large earthworks to honor the gods. Again, this is 1,000 years ago. We're in the New World, Ohio. There's no museums. There's no developed painting and drawing and so on. But what you can do is push earth around and make a sculpture. Don't know the significance of this very well my own self, but definitely for the gods, definitely ritualistic. Important enough to not be harvesting or hunting or home chopping firewood enough to make this piece. So you have to imagine it's for a spiritual reason. The spiral jetty, this is a photo, this is originally from 1970. This is a photo during most of its life, it has looked like this. It's been underwater. Then when there was a drought, this is in Utah at the Great Salt Lake, then there was a drought, and then this was very easy to walk on and raised up. I don't know its current status. You'd have to kind of look it up. But this is a very permanent work. And Smithson died in a plane crash looking for another site. There's many other earthworks going on, and there's a couple new ones surfacing. A couple artists that were before not really looked on as important as Robert Smithson, but this is a pretty simple piece to have made. It did take some time, but not as much time as some of the others that have been going on that are ready to be revealed. Installation. Did I give you guys? Oh yeah, two images. Okay, so installation is really important. Anne Hamilton's really the queen of installation. Does not show her in the book anymore. This piece used to be in the book. Now we have Kara Walker's piece. She's more current. Anne Hamilton's still doing similar work. It's changed a little bit, but her stuff is site specific. It has to do with what's going on in this place and time. Often she sits in the space and is actively doing something. There are some speakers underneath all these flowers. Obviously, flowers in an installation, they're going to smell really good at first and not so good later. That's part of the experience. You're experiencing smells, sounds, and sights. The denim factory piece I think is really powerful. Again, she has this large sort of table structure, probably found on site, most likely. Another person working, this time it's not her, erasing things out of a book. It looks like it's a ledger book, I believe. And it's basically the factory is being closed, so he's erasing these names. He's taking away the information that used to be there. This large mound of denim shirts, which you can see a close-up down here, that is very typical of what was manufactured in this space. Carol Walker is taking that to a different level with her sugar piece, Sugar Baby, but Anne Hamilton's really sort of where this idea, I want to say, crystallized. Okay, so you get some terms there, and that's it.